Hello there, Emma. I'm just messaging to tell you that you should marry Gerald and not Tony.
Mimi, please. How many times have we already had the same conversation? The man that I've been dating this whole time is Tony, and he's the man I'm going to marry.
What are you talking about? I need to make sure that Gerald gets married before his brother. I've realized that when Tony brought you home with him that I had to do something to help Gerald find a wife quickly. So anyways, that's why you're going to be marrying Gerald instead. And I won't take no for an answer.
Mimi, you can say whatever you'd like, but it isn't going to change my mind about this. I'm going to marry Tony, and that's final. I mean, I don't even think I've spent more than an hour cumulatively with Gerald.
But I'm sure that you would come to love him if you just knew him a little better. I promise that he really is an amazing guy, and you wouldn't regret marrying him. Don't make me force this to happen. Don't forget that the two of you are married now. If you try and break this off or do anything to ruin the fact that you're engaged to Gerald, I will sue you into oblivion. Do you understand?
I seriously have no idea how to even respond to this, but please don't spout this crazy nonsense and then threaten me with legal action. Anyways, I have to go. Hey, Tony, I'm really sorry to bug you while you're away on your business trip. But it's just that your mom started talking to me about marrying your brother again.
You're kidding me. I thought that you talked to her about that.
In fact, apparently in her head she seems to think that Gerald and I are already engaged or something. There was one time she told me that if I broke off my engagement with him, that she would sue me.
Emma, I am so sorry that you're having to deal with all this right now. I wish my mom would stop all this nonsense.
I mean, I wonder how Gerald himself feels about all this. Probably doesn't like being put in the situation any more than I do. Feels like your mom would be the kind of person to push this, whether or not the both of us wanted it or not.
I think you're probably right about that. But actually, I talked to Gerald a little bit about this earlier.
Really? I didn't know you two were still talking. When was the last time that you even had a good chat with each other? If I remember correctly, you two haven't been the closest of people ever since Gerald quit his job at the big company and shut himself up in his room.
I know that it seems that way, but that's not what's really happening at all.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that the real reason why he quit his first job was because he was in the process of publishing his first book.
Oh, really? I had no idea that Gerald wrote anything.
Well, it's already a bestseller and has even been picked up by some streaming service to be turned into a show.
That's amazing! He must be so proud!
I would think so. But he's basically doing all of this online, so he hasn't had the need to go into the office or even leave his room, really. Besides, he's always more of an indoor person anyways. I think he's probably glad to have less reasons to leave the house now.
Oh, I see, so that's how things are.
But I think that he still hasn't told anyone that he's gone and published his book already. I think he's just worried that if Mom finds out, she will just use it to brag to everyone she knows about him and just never give him any peace or privacy. So that's why he's been pretending to keep the antisocial shut-in this whole time. He's really just waiting for the right timing to come forward about this since he knows it's going to be a big deal. I think that Mom knows that you also work for a big company though. And so she wants you and Gerald to get married because she thinks he needs someone to take care of him.
So then, I think that I'm going to marry your brother and do everything for him on top of that?
Well, that's what my mom thinks, but Gerald doesn't want that at all.
Oh, well, as long as he understands that it isn't going to happen, that's good.
Right. So anyways, while we were talking, he explained all this to me and apologized for seeming to act so standoffish. But now the problem is how to move forward from here. In fact, Gerald was kinda hoping that you and I would be able to help him come out to the world as an author.
He wants our help with that. How so?
Well, the first thing I should let you know is that Gerald already has a fiancé.
Hold on a second, he does? I had no idea.
But yesterday, my mom was going on about how he needs to marry you again. Gerald mentioned something about already being engaged, however, and I guess my mom just assumed that he meant he was engaged to you. She thought that he was already in on her plan and was moving forward with it. You know that my mom probably wouldn't even listen to anything that proved the contrary.
Wow, your mom just really lives in her own world sometimes, doesn't she?
She has always been like this though, ever since we were little. Our mom has always tried to control every little thing we did and manage our lives.
You've told me a little bit about that before, but I feel bad for your brother having to deal with that.
But now that mom has got it in her head that Gerald is engaged to you, he is worried that that is going to make things very difficult with his own fiancée, and that is what he wants our help with. So we're going to wait for a day when mom is at home for all of us to meet and talk face to face.
Wow, this is all so much. You've been thinking about this a lot.
Well, this is going to be the talk where we can all finally decide how to get my mom out of our lives once and for all.
That's a pretty heavy task, but if you want help, just let me know what I can do.
Hello there, Emma. I assume the preparations for the wedding are continuing along nicely? And I imagine that you've already divorced Tony, yes?
I actually haven't done that at all, actually.
Excuse me? What are you doing? You need to get a divorce right now!
That's just not going to happen. In fact, Gerald said that it was a surprise for you that I wouldn't not be divorcing Tony, in fact.
A surprise for me? What is that supposed to mean?
I don't really know all the details, and can't say any more than this. I also have to go right now. Bye!
I see. Maybe Gerald is planning some kind of dramatic way to announce his marriage to you for everyone. Well, if he wants this to be a surprise, then I guess I won't ask any more questions either. Emma, where are you? Why haven't you arrived yet? You know you need to get here early for makeup and to fit into your dress. You're so late already. Emma, answer me right now. I have had just about enough of this nonsense, Emma.
Sorry, what are you talking about right now, Mimi?
I mean that you are supposed to marry Gerald so that you can take care of him. But now I've just been told that you've made a last-minute cancellation and you're not even going to be here? How could you just leave my poor boy at the altar like that?
I don't really know how else to say this, but Gerald and I were never going to get married. In fact, I'm on my honeymoon right now, actually.
What do you mean you're on your honeymoon?
I mean that Tony and I are on our honeymoon right now. And I suppose it's a good time as any to say that Tony and I got married in secret about 2 weeks ago.
But I don't get it. Gerald is here and he's still getting ready for the wedding.
Oh, I see. Well, either way, Tony and I have no intention of separating. And I was never going to marry Gerald either.
I won't let you get away with this. I mean, just who do you think is going to pay for all of this? You know that Gerald doesn't work. He can't afford something like this.
I don't know what is happening over there, and I don't want to. Please leave Tony and I out of it, okay? Now, goodbye.
Emma, you get back here right now and explain what's going on! What is going on here? I am still so confused.
What are you talking about this time, Mimi?
I mean that Gerald, my poor sweet little Gerald.
What about Gerald? Did something happen?
Well, he had to cancel the wedding since his bride never showed up. So he told me that he would take care of the cleanup and just go home. But then after I left, apparently some totally random lady showed up, and Gerald married her.
So then the wedding wasn't canceled after all.
I guess not. But I don't even know who this person is.
I'd probably guess it's the woman that Gerald was dating and then engaged to.
What are you talking about? Gerald wasn't seeing anyone because he was supposed to be marrying you. I think I would know if my son was engaged to someone.
Are you really sure about that?
Of course I am. But this is all your fault. You're the one making this happen. You stabbed my son in the back, and now you've made him marry some stranger out of desperation. How do you sleep at night?
Mom, you have got to stop this. It's getting ridiculous.
Tony, what is this all about?
Did you really have no idea that Gerald was seeing this girl this whole time?
Why are you talking to me about your brother? If you're mad at him for trying to steal your wife, go talk to him about it.
Mom, he was never trying to do anything like that. You were the one that got it in your head to try and set up Kenna with Gerald, but neither of them wanted that. Gerald tried to tell you that he was already engaged, but you only heard what you wanted to hear and thought that he meant to Emma. You always do this. You never listen to when other people try to say when you're wrong.
How can you say something like that to your own mother?
Because it's true. Speaking of, have you seen Gerald's room?
What about his room? Give me a moment. I don't get it. What is going on? The whole room is totally empty. There's nothing left.
Well, it was all Gerald's idea, really. Although he left you a note explaining things in your mailbox. I would read that very carefully so you can understand how Gerald and I really feel about all of this. Although it's way too late to change our minds now. This is my last goodbye, Mom. Have a nice life.
Wait, no, Tony! I still don't understand!
In the end, Gerald stopped talking to his mom without ever telling her what he really did for a living. Now he lives with his wife close to her parents. Tony and I have also moved recently as part of a job transfer. The new job was partially for better pay, but also because Tony didn't want his mom barging into the office and embarrassing him. She actually did do that, but it was too late and we were already gone. Also, Tony asked the receptionist at his office to tell her that we had quit. With no way to track us down, Mimi was left with no family to turn to, and lives out her days in her big empty house all by herself.